Hello all, welcome to Digital Report channel. India, a country located in South Asia, is known for its rich cultural heritage, diverse population, and unique geography. With a population of over 1.4 billion people, it is set to become the world's most populous country, surpassing China in 2023. Once branded as the third world country, India is now among the top 5 economies in the world, overtaking United Kingdom in 2022. In this video, we will explore the key events that have led to India's transformation. Prior to British colonization, India was the world leader in three industries: textiles, steel, and shipbuilding. It was a country which had 23% of global GDP, and poverty was not a prevalent issue at that time. After 200 years of exploitation and looting by the British, India became one of the poorest countries in the world by the time the British left. India officially became an independent country on August 15, 1947, which itself is a huge turning point in its economic history, with Jawaharlal Nehru as its first Prime Minister. The country faced many challenges in the years following independence, including poverty, religious and caste-based conflicts, and the integration of the princely states into the new nation. India inherited a weak economy from British, characterized by low levels of industrialization and agricultural productivity. In 1950, India established the Planning Commission to oversee the development and implementation of 5-year plans, which were centralized economic and social growth programs modeled after those in the Soviet Union. The Commission was responsible for all aspects of planning, including resource allocation and evaluation. The initial 5-year plan in 1951 targeted agriculture and irrigation to increase farm production as India was spending a lot on food grain imports. The second 5-year plan in 1956 established the basis for economic modernization and aimed for long-term growth. It emphasized on fast industrialization, particularly in heavy industries and capital goods. The efforts to rapidly industrialize the country led to a significant shift in funding away from the agriculture sector, resulting in food shortages. In 1960s, following the death of Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri became India's second Prime Minister. Besides already persisting food shortages and inflation, the war with China had exposed more of India's economic weakness. Lal Bahadur Shastri's focus on food security arose from the fact that in the 1960s, India was on the verge of a mass famine. Country's reliance on food aid imports from the USA was also starting to impact its foreign policy autonomy. At this time, geneticist M.S. Swaminathan, along with other scientists, stepped in with high-yield variety seeds of wheat, setting off what came to be known as the Green Revolution. After the sudden passing of Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri in January 1966, Indira Gandhi was appointed as the leader of the Congress party and subsequently became the Prime Minister. Indira Gandhi was well liked within India after the 1971 war victory against Pakistan, but faced challenges such as food shortages, rising unemployment, and high inflation. In 1975, a judge ruled her election invalid and barred her from contesting an election for 6 years, giving her political party 20 days to choose a new leader. However, the government responded by declaring a state of emergency, with Indira Gandhi stating that the measure was taken to address internal disturbances. Indians expressed their disapproval of Indira Gandhi's emergency rule by voting her out of power in 1977. The Janata Party was voted into power during 1977 elections. George Fernandez, the symbol of resistance during emergency, was made Industries Minister. He insisted IBM and Coca-Cola comply with the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act that mandated foreign investors cannot own over 40% in Indian enterprises, which resulted in two multinationals shut their India operations. From the 1950s to 1991, the Government of India took control of various industries and businesses through a process called nationalization. For example, in 1953, the Air Corporation Act was passed, which led to the nationalization of 9 airlines and their replacement with Indian Airlines and Air India International, creating a monopoly. This process of nationalization was also applied to other sectors, such as banking, life insurance, general insurance, and mining. Those were the days you could not produce or import anything without a license. Raising productivity was not rewarded but punished with jail for exceeding license capacity. This caused widespread scarcity of goods and services, which is difficult for millennials today to imagine. Just to give an example of how things were in 1970s in India, individuals had to queue up for 7 years for a car and 9 years for a scooter. Government-owned HMT had a monopoly on watch production, making it so scarce that it was often included in a bride's dowry. Since the mid-1980s, India has slowly opened up its markets through economic liberalization. In 1991, India faced a major balance of payments crisis due to the collapse of the Soviet Union, which was one of its major trading partners, and the increased oil prices caused by the Gulf War. This led to the possibility of defaulting on loans. India sought $1.8 billion bailout loan from the International Monetary Fund (IMF), which required deregulation in return. In response, the Narasimha Rao government, led by then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh, implemented economic reforms in 1991. These reforms aimed to make the economy more open and liberalized by reducing trade barriers, making it easier for domestic companies to expand, and by allowing automatic approval of foreign direct investment in several sectors. This is the golden moment for economy which brought down the last pillars of socialist India. After 1991, the growth story flipped in India from how you did business to how long it took to get a phone connection. India was no longer a notoriously difficult place to do business. Investments poured in from abroad and new jobs emerged. The Indian IT industry has grown rapidly with an exponential growth rate after the economic reforms of 1991. The IT sector has enhanced its contribution to India's GDP from 1.2% in 1998 to almost 8% in 2022. When Manmohan Singh initiated economic liberalization in 1991, India relied heavily on foreign aid. Today, India has become a significant provider of aid, having pledged $30 billion to Asian neighbors and Africa. Today, India is a net food exporter even in droughts and the world's biggest exporter of rice. In 1991, India was a leader of G77, a group of poor countries constantly demanding more concessions for development. But today, India is being invited to G7, a group of top 7 economies that lead the world. India is now the 5th largest economy in the world and is on its way to become the 3rd largest by 2031, as per Bank of America. A notable achievement is that the country's GDP has grown tenfold since the implementation of economic reforms in 1991. Share your thoughts on how would India be by 2031 in comment section. If you found this helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel and hit the like button.